My aunt crossed every boundary and ruined my love life for 10 years. I didn't realize anything was wrong at first, because when something happens slowly enough, your mind finds ways to normalize it. For most of my adult life, I believed I was simply unlucky in love. I thought I had poor judgment, or that I kept choosing people who weren't ready for commitment. Every breakup followed the same strange pattern, but instead of questioning it, I turned the blame inward. It felt easier to believe I was flawed than to imagine something more disturbing. My aunt had always been part of my life. She was my mother's younger sister, close enough in age to feel like a strange mix of authority and competition. Growing up, she lived with us on and off, usually after another relationship collapsed or another financial crisis appeared. She was loud, expressive, and endlessly unhappy. Everyone tiptoed around her emotions. Any boundary she crossed was dismissed with excuses about how lonely she was or how badly life had treated her. As a child, I learned early that her feelings mattered more than anyone else's comfort. If she snapped at you, you were expected to understand. If she invaded your space, you were expected to tolerate it. If she crossed a line, the line was quietly moved instead of reinforced. By the time I became an adult, this dynamic felt normal. When I started dating seriously in my early 20s, bringing someone home for the holidays felt important. It meant I trusted them enough to let them see my past. It meant I believed there could be a future. The first time I did it, I remember feeling nervous but excited. I had imagined how it would feel to sit at the dinner table with someone who knew me fully. My aunt immediately took an interest in my boyfriend. She complimented him excessively, laughed too hard at his jokes, and found excuses to sit near him. She asked him questions she never asked anyone else. Personal questions. Leading questions. At the time, I thought she was just being socially awkward. I even brushed it off as harmless. That relationship ended a few months later. He became distant and withdrawn, eventually telling me he felt guilty about something but didn't explain what. I cried, blamed myself, and moved on. The same thing happened again with the next relationship, and the one after that. Each time, everything felt stable until after a holiday visit, after family dinners, after introductions, then the emotional distance would begin. They'd say they felt confused, or tempted, or unsure. Some admitted they'd crossed a line, but none ever told me with whom. I didn't connect the pattern because I didn't want to. Questioning it would mean questioning my family, and that felt unthinkable, so instead, I internalized the pain. I told myself I was hard to love. I told myself this was just how relationships ended. With each breakup, something inside me shrank. I stopped expecting consistency. I stopped trusting happiness when it appeared. I learned to anticipate abandonment before it happened, which made me quieter, more cautious, less open. Years passed like this. By my late 20s, I stopped getting hopeful. I kept my relationship shallow and guarded. I avoided bringing partners home. Still, every now and then, someone would break through my defenses and make me believe again. My aunt, meanwhile, grew more bitter with time. She complained constantly about how life had passed her by, about how men never stayed, about how unfair it was that younger women still had chances she didn't. She watched me closely, commented on my appearance, on my relationships. Sometimes it sounded like concern, other times it felt like resentment. She'd say things like how lucky I was, how easy things must be for me, how men always noticed me without me trying. There was an edge to her voice when she said it, like admiration twisted into something darker. The truth finally came out during what I thought would be my last chance at something real. He was older, calmer, emotionally grounded, or so I believed. He listened when I spoke. He didn't disappear when things got hard. I let myself relax around him in a way I hadn't in years. When I introduced him to my family, the familiar tension returned immediately. My aunt's attention locked onto him the same way it always had. Her posture changed, her tone softened, her laughter became louder. At one point during dinner, I stepped away to grab something from my old room. When I came back, they were sitting close, their conversation stopping abruptly when they noticed me. I told myself not to overreact. I told myself I was being paranoid. Later that night, he barely spoke. He avoided eye contact. His warmth vanished as if someone had flipped a switch. I didn't accuse him. I asked calmly what was wrong. After a long pause, he told me everything. He said my aunt had approached him while I was gone. She framed it as concern, saying I was emotionally distant and didn't appreciate him. She said I didn't understand him the way she did. She told him she felt invisible and unwanted, and that being around him made her feel alive again. Then she told him she'd done this before, with others I'd brought home. That moment rewrote the past 10 years of my life. Every breakup replayed itself in my mind with terrifying clarity. Every uncomfortable holiday, every unexplained shift, every apology that never made sense. I felt nauseous, not just betrayed, but dismantled. I confronted my aunt the next day. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look ashamed. She leaned back in her chair and told me I should have known. That men were weak. That if I couldn't keep them loyal, it wasn't her responsibility. She said I brought happiness into her space while she had none, and that wasn't fair. She said she deserved something too. That was when I understood this had never been about attraction. It was about control. About envy. About making sure I never built something she couldn't have. When I told my family, they asked me to forgive her, to consider her pain, to stop causing drama. No one asked how 10 years of sabotage had affected me. No one acknowledged the damage. No one apologized. So I stopped explaining. I stopped visiting. I stopped inviting. I stopped sharing my life. Healing didn't happen quickly. Trust felt dangerous. Dating felt impossible. But distance gave me clarity. Therapy gave me language. Time gave me strength. I learned that betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it grows quietly inside the places you're told are safe. 10 years taught me something I'll never forget. Some people don't want what you have. They just don't want you to have it.